is T and J people produce a lot of substance P
Yes.
because they're in chronic inflammation and chronic pain. Is there anything that Guna can offer to reduce the levels of substance P?
Yes. I read a paper about the role played by beta endorphin in control the release of substance P. In fact, beta endorphin that we produce starting from POMC, pro-opiomelanocortin, works both at peripheral level and central level. In both cases, beta endorphin binds the MU1 receptor. On peripheral level, this binding reduces the release of P substance. On central level, beta endorphin, the same binding the MU receptor, downregulate the release of GABA, increasing dopamine production. So, since dopamine is involved in rewarding and those mechanisms, you stand better the pain. So you can think, but there is not literature about possible clinical application, but you can think in terms of beta endorphin to control the release of substance P.
That's in FLAM?
Beta endorphin is one of the components of FLAM, or you can also use beta endorphin as single ingredient based.
You sell that separately? You sell beta endorphin?
Yeah, beta endorphin. Yeah, single beta endorphin. Yeah.
But it's in FLAM as well.
It's also in FLAM, but if you specifically need something to act on substance P, maybe it's even better single beta endorphin.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I don't remember by memory the reference, but in any case, this way. I was thinking about dopamine on the other side, central level, because dopamine is a great molecule. Dopamine. Instead, to stimulate GABA, remember the cold. Cold stimulate GABA. So one of the first suggestions to give to the patients with sleep disorders is not to take the ether high, because GABA since GABA modulated or GABA is stimulated by cold.
So 18 degrees is okay. 18?
18 degrees is okay.
16, 18.
Yeah. Just consider that the temperature in heaven is 27. They say that that's the temperature of heaven, 27 Celsius degrees. So for GABA, I think 16 is good.
Can I actually ask a question? Treg cells regulate Th1 and Th2.
Both, yeah.
How do you regulate Treg when they're overexpressed?
Yeah. The most effective interleukin to downregulate Treg is interleukin 12. That's the reason why in many trials in oncology, they try to use interleukin 12 in order to downregulate Treg that usually in cancer patients are upregulated. That's the reason why, one of the reasons, but maybe the most important reason, why cancer patients are so immune depressed. Since having upregulated Treg through TGF-beta, they downregulate both Th1 and Th2. That means low cell-mediated immune response, low humoral antibody immune response. In 2010 or 11, we published an interesting paper in Journal of Cancer Therapy about the use of interleukin 12 in ex vivo study in blood of patients with lung carcinoma non-small cell, comparing high dosage of interleukin 12 and low dose of interleukin 12. Both downregulated in this is absolutely fascinating. Both of them downregulated in the same way Treg, so great. But interleukin 12 in micrograms per milliliter, high dosage, downregulated in the same time all the CD4 subsets. Treg, good, but also Th1 and Th2. Instead, low concentrations of interleukin 12 downregulated Treg, increasing Th1 to produce gamma interferon. Do you remember that gamma interferon, mainly produced by Th1, was able to stimulate CD8+ to differentiate in T cytotoxic cell, which are some of the cells more involved in scavenger activity against cancer cells. So, yeah, interleukin 12.
Long-term use of, fascinating what you're saying about the IL-6 and about the semi-long-term use of the IL-10 to suppress it, but I presume people, if they take it for 6 months, should probably take it intermittently as they get older.
Interleukin 10?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. I told you that the best way to administer in general these medications, which are biological molecules, is 2-3 months yes, 1-2 months stop. Even better if you do this way, if the follow-up is positive. 2-3 months yes, in chronic diseases obviously, 1 stop. 2-3 yes, 2 stop. 2-3 yes, 4 stop. Because in the most part of clinical trials, we observe the carry-over effect. That means that even though you stop the administration, the cells improve. And I personally, I think this is a very good way of administration because we don't have any evidence. But in molecular biology, sometimes they describe the so-called, the effect that is called adaptation to not response. What does it mean? That continuously you stimulate, even though that's the right message, the cell adapts itself to that stimulation and doesn't answer no more. Just to understand this concept, anthropomorphizing cell. If I send Elena tonight 12 red roses, she will be excited. Tomorrow, other 12 roses, and she will say, nice. On Monday, other 12 roses, and she will say, Alessandro is strange. Wednesday, other, and she will say, okay, this is the adaptation to not response, also for the cell. So sometimes, stop it. I mean, don't send the roses continuously to women, but sometimes, just once a year.
Once a year.
It's adaptation to not response.
Regarding IL-10, as I'm on the upward slope, would you recommend we all take IL-10 for the rest of our lives?
No, I recommend to, if you don't have any chronic complex disease continuously releasing interleukin 6, but you are a healthy guy, in order to prevent pathologies linked to chronic inflammation, 2-3 times per year, 20 drops twice a day for 2 months. The best moment when your body is particularly stressed, for instance, when you change the seasons. Otherwise, in case of clear chronic inflammatory disease, you can also go on for a long time. Do you remember the study of Professor Fioranelli in stable coronary disease, together with acetylsalicylic acid and statin, 20 drops interleukin 10 every day, long life? It depends. In order, if you consider interleukin 10 a very good secondary prevention, 2 months, 2-3 times per year.
for those patients who don't want to be on a statin,
On statin,
if they don't wish to be on a statin, a lot of patients are very resistant,
I
my
know.
patients anyway, are very resistant to statin, and particularly people involved in athletics, they feel they get
that's
muscular
true.
pains
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so on.
yeah.
Can you use your
Mm.
aspirin plus IL-10, or what else could you add in?
It's difficult to answer. If you have a patient with stable coronary disease, it's mandatory to use statin, even though you will have muscle pain. Otherwise, you risk not to have stable plaque. In hypercholesterolemia, total cholesterol over 280, I think it's a guideline to use statin, for instance, 10 milligrams per day or something like that. So if you are below, you can also use those dietary supplements based on monacolin, for instance. 10 milligrams per day of monacolin works very well. I think that for value over 300 total cholesterol, maybe it can be risky, I don't know. So it depends. Is a classical case where it depends is really the answer. Anyway, consider that interleukin-10 and statin don't work in the same way. So interleukin-10 boosts the other food supplements or statins or antiaggregants.
All right. Instead of time not using the interleukin-10, maybe we just have to be in early stage of love. Every 3 months we should now regulate our
that's-
interleukin-6.
Okay. No. I think that you have two possibilities. Or you change your partner every 3 months. Okay. Or
Just
you,
experience love.
yeah. Or you find the reason why to be in love every 3 months or every day with the same partner. Or you can help your body taking NGF. I mean, what early stage romantic love provoked is an increase in NGF, which is in part similar to BDNF, in order to keep young the brain. If you are not in love, take NGF. But I think it's absolutely more fun to be in love.
Yeah.
Definitively yes. Definitively yes. It's interesting because when you are in love,
You never suffer from any diseases. You have an immune system just
Yeah,
all the time.
exactly. The immune
Yes,
system,
everybody's,
yeah.
I think, experience it.
but why your mood is so unbelievably good? Because of dopamine. Yeah, because if I am in love with you, no, for instance, just looking at you, you think everything is systemic. You stimulate my nucleus accumbens to produce more dopamine. Dopamine stimulates the dopaminergic receptor of mesencephalic neurons. That stimulated give you tone, rewarding, enthusiasm, passion. Interesting is that those dopaminergic mesencephalic neurons are the same which are stimulated by cocaine, heroin, during sex, and chocolate. So that's the reason why when your boyfriend leaves you, you eat chocolate. But this is the reason why when a woman leaves me, I stay so bad. Because when I am in love with her, I produce so much dopamine, and I am under a storm of dopamine. One day, yes, she said, the luggage are out of the door, you produce less dopamine, and you try to find something else in other direction. I mean, people with love troubles are sick persons, as well as people under cocaine, heroin, and they need methadone. We need to invent something A methadone for lovers. Change another woman, for example. Not change, I mean, be in love with another woman. But it's true, eh? It's true.
And it's only people who comes actually meditate, because the people, Buddhistic people, for example, who can meditate, they just do something like that. Now we're very close to the gut and faith.
And take care of your gut, exactly.
No, God,
God, okay, excuse me. Yes, but one of the guts of our body is the gut. So I will use this next seminar. Yes.
There's a device called Sensate. I saw a lot of sort of advanced publicity on it. It stimulates the vagal nerve. Supposedly it's programmed from a smartphone, and it's a little thing you put in your chest, about 250 quid, and I think it's going to be produced commercially from the summer onwards. But people would say it induces a very deep state, and it's aimed at people who have great trouble, I think, going into any kind of meditative state. But it's vagal nerve stimulatory, where the vagal nerve comes near the surface down here near the sternal angle.
What's
Might
it
be
called?
useful to someone. Sounds like a sex toy. Sensate. S-E-N-S-A-T-E. You know, that's innovation. You know.
But speaking about smartphone, I don't know in your country, but in my country, I observed that there is a sort of addiction, dependency, and I think it's not only it's a really fantasy in this moment, but at the end, I think it's not only cultural or social. Maybe they provoke because they are frequencies. They provoke production of dopamine, and we stay well when we are connected. Because otherwise, where is the... I understand the pleasure of sex, I understand the pleasure of food, chocolate, or something else, but where is the pleasure to type something in the smartphone? So maybe they stimulate the nuclear accumbens to produce dopamine, and the same of cocaine and heroin. If we don't have it, we crave it. But it's fantasy and fantascience. Okay. But I don't understand why people are so addicted.
Don't understand.
I don't understand, but I see that during the break of seminars, one time people go to smoke. Now people immediately switch on the phone. It's strange. So,
I'm driving on the main motorway in Dublin, M50, and the car in front of me is doing 20 kilometers an hour because she's on the phone.
Yeah. This is
On the
the
main
first
motorway.
cause of car
Yeah.
accidents. Excuse me, I have to.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your passion.
Thank you very much. Thank
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I do.